Welcome to another episode of the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants. I am John Schmeelk. I'm with a very well-dressed man next to me here. Tie, nice sweater. Is that cashmere?
Well, yes, it is. No, I don't know what it is. It's probably cotton. You know,
You look good.
I don't know, nylon maybe. I don't know.
I think it's nylon. I don't think they make sweaters out of nylon.
I don't know. It's TJ Maxx, whatever. So whatever that is.
All right. How you doing, man? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's great. You know, it is the season. You know, I feel like the holidays, like I like getting dressed up. Like you kind of just start getting in the mood, and it makes the eggnog taste better when when you're dressed up a little bit.
So when you picked out the sweater, was it? I'm gonna take the sweater that's Shaun O'Hara eye blue because it really does match the color of your eyes.
No, I just actually kind of went. I wanted something to kind of complement the tie.
Okay.
And something that would kind of take the attention away from other areas. But no, it's more just like it's kind of cold out. Like I want a little extra layer.
It is chilly.
I was walking around the city a little bit today, so definitely wanted that extra warmth. But anytime you can throw blue on an outfit, I think it works.
I'm with you on that. All right, so the Giants could use a little bit of warmth here, Shaun, because they are sitting nice cold at 2-10 here, trying to figure out what to do. So let's start with some of the news from today. Drew Lock named the starter. Tommy DeVito still making his way back from injury. Brian Daboll spoke to the media, and the way he phrased it is that it sounds like Tommy DeVito would have been ready to go this week, but after seeing what he saw from Drew Lock last week, he wants to see what he would look like with a full week of practice under his belt. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that was less than ideal circumstances last week, the way that Drew Lock kind of got thrown into that position. Obviously, in a short week like that, even if Tommy DeVito had been able to play, there's not a lot of practices when you're playing on that Thanksgiving Day game. So it's really walkthroughs. But for Drew Lock to have not gotten a single live rep with the ones leading up to that start, I think that definitely was a little tough. But I think, look, the reality is just like at this point, try everything. Like everything's on the table. When you're 2-10, like you have to be willing to try everything, give everybody a shot. And you know what? That's not to say that you don't rotate guys in, and maybe Tommy DeVito, gets a couple series here too. Maybe you let them, both kind of share the game. I don't know. I think cornerbacks kind of would like to start and finish the game if they can, just so they can kind of progress. But look, Drew Lock. I mean, the one blemish that I think everybody takes away from that game is that pick six. Like, it was just a heck of a play. And I feel like we've said that so many times this year. Other teams are making heck of a play against us every week.
When's the last time we said a Giant player that was made a heck of a play?
Yeah, can we get one? We don't have a single interception. We have one, right? We have one interception on the entire season.
In week one.
On defense. So we'll take anything. Like, we're not being greedy. It doesn't need to be a pick six. We'll just take the pick.
Absolutely.
But that kind of stuff seems to be happening week in and week out. Look, I think Drew, there are obviously things that he would like to have back. I thought the protection broke down big time, and that's hard. It's hard. I mean, we've been talking about that for way too long here. That look, it's
since
hard
you retired, pretty much. Huh?
And Tommy DeVito, he got sacked, 37 times last year too. So it's kind of, we're in that same position here. All right, like the offensive line is struggling. Evan Neal is struggling. We have no Andrew Thomas. It's hard for the quarterbacks to kind of build that rhythm. So I think this is a tough time of year. I've been through one of these seasons, John. My rookie year in Cleveland, we started out 2-1. I remember Chris Palmer came into the team meeting room and he's like, "Hey guys, we're tied for first place in the division with Pittsburgh at 2-1." And I'm like, "Hey, this is great. All right, my first year in the league, like we're in first place in the division." We went 3-13 that year. So that's week 3. We just finished week 3. We're going into week 4. Tim Couch.
Oh, Tim Couch.
And he got hurt. And then we went through all kinds of different quarterbacks. Spurgeon Wynn, Kevin Thompson, Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson we picked up. I think we might have traded for him or picked up. So he ended up starting some games. Ty Detmer blew his Achilles out in the preseason. So we already kind of cycled through him. But yeah, that was rough. That was a long stretch. And what, it was my rookie year, so I didn't really have anything to compare it to. But these games are tough. And like what you really find out is like, okay, who loves this game? Like who really loves football? Not just, on game day, but like who's willing to come in here and still continue to put in the work? You keep your same routine. You're still working out, whether you're 10-2 or 2-10. You have to create that energy. And, sometimes it's false enthusiasm, but you've got to do it. And I think that's where this team is right now. And it's not about we're going to save the season, turn around the season. No, that ship has sailed. This is about respect for yourself, for your team, for your coaches, for your ownership, for your fans. That's really all it is. And it's like, look, I got how many more games we have left? 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
I got 5 more chances to kick the crap out of somebody. Like, that's what this game is about. Like, all right, we're going to show up. We're going toe to toe. You got 5 more opportunities. Get your mind right, and let's go to battle. Let's see who we got.
A couple of specifics I wanted to get to, but you brought up the leadership part of this first, so I'll go there. The Giants right now have 1 healthy captain left from the start of the year, Shaun.
Ooh.
Bobby Okereke didn't practice it with a back injury. Dable kind of termed him week to week with a chance to play this week. We'll see what that means. But Dexter Lawrence out, Okereke out, Daniel Jones obviously not with the team anymore. You know, the guys that got nominated captains at the start of the year, and Andrew Thomas, they're all out. Casey Crowder's the last one standing. So when you're in this situation, you're 2-10, you're down 4 of your captains in terms of guys that are able to play and suit up, assuming Okereke doesn't play this weekend. We'll see. How does a team do what you're talking about when a lot of the guys that was considered the core part of the leadership of this team might not even be suiting up on Sunday?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's less than ideal circumstances. And I think, you know, in any case, you know, just like if a player is no longer able to play on the field, somebody's got to replace him physically. Somebody else has got to step up. This is an opportunity now for a younger kid. You know, maybe there's a guy who's 2nd or 3rd year in the league and he would never speak up in a moment because he has a veteran guy. Or there's a guy twice my seniority ahead of me and he's the one that's going to speak. So this is opportunity. That's what the NFL is. All right, so now your captains aren't there. That sucks. Who's going to step up? Now, who is going to be that guy that's going to take ownership and say, hey, look, I'll pick up the slack and I'll be the guy to step in? Because, you know, ultimately when you go on the field, like you're in the huddle, it's like nobody on that side of the field cares about our problems and our drama and what we have going on.
True.
But when I'm in the huddle and I'm looking at 10 other guys, like I got to know I'm counting on you guys. And, you know, even if some of you guys may be new, maybe I just met you, look at me, like we got to go, like this, it's go time, you know, and people can get hurt if you go out there not ready and not messing around. But the leadership thing definitely is tough. I think that's one of the things as a head coach, you got to find out, all right, maybe I need to start giving some of my guys different duties. Maybe I need to start letting different guys be vocal and letting them have a say in things. You know, I think when you're in a position right now as a head coach, like the season is sideways, 2-10. Nobody predicted that. Nobody wants that. But this might be a good time to go to your players and say, how do you guys want to finish this? Like, what do we want to do? What can I do as a coach? What can we do to get the best out of you guys and put you guys in the best position possible? And what can we do for your bodies? Like, do we need to kind of scale back? I mean, to go out there and make a bloodbath during the week and practice, it's probably not going to win you over, and nobody's going to enjoy that. So, you know, try to find a way to look, let's make something out of these next 5 games and let's do it together.
Huddle up, get in here. If you're lined up here, you gotta go over the middle with it to score.
Right. How do we make that happen?
I don't know, but Citizens does.
Make sense of your money with Citizens, official bank of Eli Manning.
Giants Huddle podcast brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. From game day celebrations to your everyday financial needs, Big Blue fans can get the most out of every moment with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants. All right, you mentioned the protection. We know it was rough at the tackle positions last week. We don't know if Evan Neal's going to play this week. Could be Josh Azudu. We'll see. Hubbard at left tackle. You can touch on them if you want, Shaun. I want to focus on the interior, specifically the center position with John Michael Schmitz. And he's had some good moments this year where he's got to the second level. He's used his mobility and stuff like that. But he's had some struggles when he's gone up against some of the bigger, more powerful guys. Even a guy like Mozzie Smith, who struggled this year, gave him a lot of trouble again. You go back to the Vita Vea game with Tampa Bay, had a lot of issues in that game getting pushed back. And it wasn't even him. Greg Gaines got him once in that game too. So again, you can touch on the other stuff, but specifically on Schmitz, what does he need to do? You were a smaller center, right? You weren't like this 315, 20
I was undersized
center. Yes.
my entire career, undersized.
So how do you deal with that when you're dealing with some of these bigger guys and they're trying to get in? How can he, fix some of those things that maybe haven't gone right for him?
Yeah, it all comes down to your hands. Like I knew I was undersized. I got to have quicker hands, strong hands. Like I mean, that's basically what you're working the entire offseason. Yeah, you're training your body, your legs and everything. But as an O-lineman, this is your gold right here. Because if you can't block people with your hands, if you can't shoot them and get them in their chest and get a hold of that jersey, this is not holding. If I got my hands in there and I'm squeezing your jersey like this or your shoulder pads, that's not holding. That's called blocking.
And that's how you control them, right?
That's how you got to control them. So especially at center, I used to just work all the time. And in the off season, you're trying to increase your strength on your grip and your hands. And as a center, sometimes it had to be one hand. I'm moving that left hand up as I'm snapping the ball. So that's kind of an art form. I didn't start out doing that. I would have my arm on the elbow, and then I kind of realized, like, all right, I can get an advantage, especially against a bigger guy. I got to get on him quick. And what I would do is I would already have my hand on him, and I'm still handing the ball to Eli. Like, I start that movement going, because the key is, like, look, I was 295 pounds. This guy's 360. If I snap the ball and back up, he's going to roll me over. So I got to get on him now before he gets the momentum going, and I got to try to stop him right at the line of scrimmage. So that's the number one. I think for JMS, he has struggled a lot with the change of direction, the stunts in both the run game and in the pass game. We saw it in the Dallas game. There was a guy on the right side of him, and he cross-faced him, and he just never recovered, never got a punch on him. And I think there's a couple things that he can do in that situation. Number one, the anticipation's got to be better. Like last year, he was a rookie. I didn't expect him to see blitzes or stunts or understand that. But going into a game, we knew, Richie, Chris, me, Dave, Kareem, we knew every blitz that they were going to do. And when we would come up, we could literally come up to the line, and as soon as they set up the defense, we would know, like, all right, we're getting the Will Mike scrape here. Like, it's coming. You have to know that. Like, and the only way you know that is by studying, by understanding the alignments. Linebackers give it away. Like, they can't help themselves. They're trained pigs. Like, they're like they're like this is like, oh, he's definitely blitzing. Like they can't help themselves. So they give it away. It's a dead giveaway. All you got to do is be prepared, and you just got to watch it, and and then you alert, and you say, hey, we'd have bingo. Bingo was a code word. Say bingo, bingo, bingo. If you saw something and you thought there was a blitz or a twist, that mental aspect of it, like G.I. Joe said, no one is half the battle. If you know that pre-snap, now you got a chance. If you're just, flopping in the wind out there and just reacting, now you put yourself at a detriment, and we've kind of seen that. I will say this, though, like John Michael Schmitz, I think he's a heavy-legged guy. He's a thick-bodied guy. So I never expected him to be like, Jason Kelsey running out in front of, pulling on outside perimeter plays. He's not that kind of center. He's a masher. Like he's let's run the football, get in a straight line and go. I think he's gotten better at up to the second level. But what I didn't expect from him was to get bowled over like he did, like Vita Vea just kind of pushed him back. Like that play, like watching that, I was really surprised. Now, I will say this.
Now, I was expecting when I looked at the tape that maybe someone caught his foot and he tripped or something like that a little bit.
So Greg Van Roten stepped on the outside of his right leg. I think he was already kind of reeling, like he was already getting pushed off the cliff, and that just kind of like finished it. But that's something that I didn't expect from JMS. I expected the anchor to be there to be better. But I think those are all things that are fixable, things that he can correct. He's plenty strong enough. He's plenty smart enough. And I know he cares. Like he's putting in the time. So I think this is his second year. I assure you there will be a lot of growth in year three. I kind of go back to Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas's first 2 years, like, were not good. They were not pretty. He got hurt. His technique was not good. People were already starting to kind of talk about, like, is this guy really worth the 4th overall pick? And then boom, third year, everything changed. And it was like, boom, totally different person. So I think that there is that possibility for JMS.
All right, final thing on the offense show, and then 2 on the defense. I'll get you out of here. I know you got to roll. Offensively, I like for the final 5 games here to be the Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy show. Look, yeah. We talked about, like, this season it's sideways. Like, you can't recover. You can win as many games as you can, but you're not going to the playoffs, obviously. But I think those 2 guys legitimately have a chance to be top players at their positions. I think Tracy has probably been this team's best offensive player over the past month and a half. He's been that good.
Indeed, yeah.
I want those 2 guys to be featured, and we've seen plenty of explosives from Tyrone Tracy. I want to see more explosives from Malik Neighbors. I don't think we've had enough of those. He talked about that in the locker room today. And I want to see whether or not those 2 guys can show that, look, we can be centerpieces for this offense as playmakers moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's, really that's what you've got to build on, because offensively, those are your 2 best players right now. Like, when you put the ball in Tyrone Tracy's hands, like, he's a threat to score. Like, he's got that explosive ability. Same thing with Neighbors. Now, I will say, I agree with what you're saying. as of lately, Tyrone Tracy has been the spark plug. Like, he's been the go-to guy. You need to feed him. Like, there is no reason why Tyrone Tracy should not get 25 carries every single game for the next 5 weeks.
At least get to 18,
like,
right?
I don't know why we're asking Drew Lock or DeVito to throw the ball 40 times. Like, I'm done with that. If I'm the coach, I don't want them throwing more than 20 passes. That's it. We're going to run the ball. Like, that's what we're doing.
And the Giants have run it fairly well. It's not like they've run it poorly. It hasn't been as great as you would like, down, but it hasn't been bad with Tracy back there.
I think, given what's going on with the offensive line too, like, you've got to keep this, like, you got to keep everything positive.
You have to protect your tackles a little bit.
We can't be at 2nd and 16 because we got sacked on 1st and 10. Like, that can't happen. They're not good enough to overcome that. I think the thing with Neighbors is, it's almost like, I feel like he's trying so hard to make a big play. Like, he's kind of pressing, and it's like, hey, you know what, man? Like, 5 yards is okay. Like, just take the 5 yards, take the 6 yards, take the 7 yards. All of a sudden, they start crashing in on you. Now you're going to make the guy miss. Like, don't try to go for the home run every single time and the big play. But I think, really, I'd love to see Neighbors in the backfield too. Like, why not? Let's put him back there. Let's get creative. Let's put him on. Let's give him some more action in the backfield. Let's put him at running back and throw a screen to him. Try to find different ways to get him the ball that way. I think there's no reason to not get creative. And look, if you ever had an idea to run a play, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Like, let's get it out there. What's the worst that can happen?
If you want to know how to manage 2 minutes of crunch time football, I'm your man. But if you're wondering about a long-term financial plan, you should talk to Citizens. Hey, I can also talk lawn care.
I'd like to learn about a mowing routine.
Yes, I knew I could help. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
Giants Huddle Podcast brought to you by Citizens, official bank of the Giants. Citizens will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation for each scoring drive during the 2024 season. Learn more at citizensbank.com/Giants. I always ask Carl Banks this. He has a stock answer for me, which is accurate, but I want to get the offensive lineman's take on this. When you see the Giants' run defense, if you're an offensive lineman, you watch how the Giants played the run on tape. How would you attack it, and where do you think their weaknesses are? Obviously, now with Dexter not here, we'll talk about that. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Even with Dexter there, what were the issues that you see with the Giants' just inability to stop the run this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely changes things without Dexter Lawrence there. Going into that, into this defense, playing them with Dexter, I would say we got a perimeter runs. Like, we're getting outside. We're not going to try to run in between the tackles. If we do run in between the tackles, it has to be a gap scheme. We're pulling somebody. I want to double team on Dexter, and we're kicking out the defensive end. I'm going to make that middle linebacker tackle you one-on-one. Like, that's kind of the power scheme in between the tackles. So I think the Giants have struggled with some outside run plays. And, look, obviously, with Thibodeau getting hurt, I thought Ojulari came in and played pretty well. But, the Giants don't have big defensive ends.
Yeah, he's more of a pass rusher than an edge setter.
So you have Ojulari and Burns is not a huge guy. I mean, he's tall, he's lengthy, but I think the perimeter run game is really where the Giants have struggled. That's probably where I would want to try to attack them. And look, it's tough. As good as Bobby Okereke is, it's tough as the Mike linebacker to have to always be the guy to make that tackle on outside perimeter plays because your angle is just not very good. It's not conducive to bringing power. So I would stress that, and then I would try to make the corners tackle. Like, that's always a big point in the run game. It's always, if we can get our running back one-on-one versus a corner, that's what we want to try to take advantage of.
And is it as simple, in order to get this pass rush reignited, you got to stop the run on early downs? Because that's the way I've talked about it a lot. You just haven't put teams in bad situations where the pass rush can, get off and do their thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You earn the right to rush the passer. And if you can stop them on 1st and 2nd down, 3rd and 9, just that little difference, now all of a sudden it's the difference between a sack and a quarterback hit. If you're
3rd and 4 and 3rd and 9, a completely different thing.
Yeah, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, that ball's out. Like, even if you beat your guy, the ball's out before you get there.
Bingo.
3rd and 9, you beat your guy, it's a sack, and so that's the biggest difference.
All right, finally, what the heck can you do to survive without Dexter Lawrence in the middle?
I'd run a 5-3 defense. I don't think you want to change up the whole scheme, but look, he's a monster of a man, and you cannot replace him with one guy. Literally, like, I mean, maybe 2 guys, would equal his weight. I don't know. But look, I mean, it's an opportunity. Like I said, it's an opportunity for somebody else to come in and play. And I think if you're Shane Bowen, you're not coming in and saying, all right, somebody's going to come play Dexter's spot. It's, okay, the stuff we used to do with Dexter in there is different. I'm going to come up with different stuff. Maybe we go with a smaller guy and maybe we do more movements. Maybe we do more stunts. Like, Dexter's so big, you didn't have to do a lot of stunts because he could just penetrate and handle it on his own. Now, maybe you go small ball and you kind of move the guys around a little bit, get a little more creative that way.
Sean, good stuff, my man.
All right, Johnny.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
buddy.
Shaun O'Hara, Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. We'll see you next time, everybody.